guys, welcome back to another edition of Chats from the Blog Cabin. Today I'm joined by my really good friend and my accountability partner, Donna. We're going to be talking about the keto lifestyle because that's something that I'm interested in, but it's something that she's doing, and she's going to talk about just her personal experience with it and why she's doing it. So Donna, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Hi, I'm Donna. I'm a teacher locally here where we're from, and that's how we met, actually, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Was I an intern when one of your daughters was in first grade, or was
Maddie was in first grade?
Yeah. So, so I'm just a teacher on the side, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it right now. Hopefully we get to return really soon, if that doesn't change. And so that's how we met.
Yeah. So tell us, why did you decide to do keto?
Well, I'll tell you, like I wouldn't say all women, but even men as well. I struggled sometimes with weight and what I felt like was weight. And so many years ago, I did just this total cut out all carbs, and that just wasn't sustainable. And then slowly I got back into wanting to try it again. And that led me to the keto, just low carb lifestyle. And that was more sustainable, and it made more sense to me instead of just doing this crazy, just get rid of all your carbs. And because I do eat carbs still, you are allowed some carbs, and I just wanted to feel better. So, and along with that, I did get to lose some weight with it, and so I mainly did it for health reasons, just to feel better, and so that's what led me to it. And then the more I researched it, and the more I read about it, the more I learned about it, it just all really clicked and made sense. And it ended up being what worked for me. Because I know everybody has, different bodies, and you've got to find what works for you. And it worked for me. And so if you've never tried it, I would suggest at least trying it to see if it would be something that your body would react to, I guess, in a positive way.
Now, I know that you get a lot of backlash because you're not by all means overweight or anything, and people are like, right, you're so tiny, why are you choosing to do this? Why is it almost like it's a diet culture thing?
Right.
Not.
Right. And I definitely don't like the word diet, and I will accidentally say it sometimes, because really when you think about it, diet is everyone has a diet. You talk about what's your pet's diet. So pets even have a diet. So basically diet is just what is your nutrition coming from, not, it's just been given a bad rep because you think of just losing weight and restricting yourself when you think of diet. Hold on a second. I lost my train of thought with what you just asked me. I do get a lot of backlash, and you can be thin and still have health issues. So I tell a lot of people, you don't know what's going on the inside of someone's body. And I'm not getting any younger. And so with age, I had put on some weight, and it wasn't like a massive amount of weight where, people could really tell. I was able to mask it a lot with larger clothing, but it was in the areas that are dangerous too, especially for women. It was right in my midsection, and my face was really bloated. So it was more of maybe not even weight, but water gain and bloating and inflammation, which is signs of that you're unhealthy. Mm-hmm. So what I say to people is you just don't know what's going on the inside. And I had headaches, a lot of joint pain, sluggish, wanting to sleep all the time. And those are not healthy. And I'm not talking to like a good nap where your body just needs to rest. We're talking like wanting to sleep for hours. So those types of things were going on as well. So that's what I tell people. Did I answer that question?
Yeah. Now, how sustainable is it, the keto diet? Because
honestly, I think it's very sustainable. I mean, I've been doing it for 3 years. I did fall off track. So I'll talk about that for a second if it's okay. So what happened was I fell off track, I would say sometime around September or October of this past year. And I caught myself back into my old habits of, just making excuses for eating healthy. And I also let a lot of the backlash get into my head. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm really not that heavy. And so who cares? And I got it back into a lot of my bad habits to where I could not get back on track. But it is very sustainable. And I just needed to get my mindset back straight. I had all the tools that I needed. And here slowly, I would say about in May, it just clicked. I also introduced exogenous ketones into the routine, which I can talk about those a little bit more in a second. But and that really helped me get back on track as well. It is very sustainable if you will have an open mind and start small. So
no kicking carbs totally out. Right.
No. So, and I have some information if anyone that's reaching out to you wants me to email it to them. I do have some steps for basic getting your life into a keto low carb lifestyle. The difference between keto and low carb is that keto, you are really, really focusing on adding those extra fats and being really strict. So I do mix mine with low carb because there are days where I will choose, and I talk about it being a choice a lot, to have extra carbs in my meal plan. And I would definitely, if you're looking into this lifestyle, wait a few weeks before you did do that, because your body really does need to detox and get rid of all the sugar cravings so that you can get back on track quicker. So what you do is you follow, and some people will do total carb count. I prefer to do net carbs, and that's where you get rid of the fiber. And if you do eat some of the sugar alcohols, you subtract those from the total carbs and you focus just on the net carbs. And it kind of restricts you a little bit more, but that's what works for me. And you want to keep it to where your 25 carbs are under. And so then it becomes choices. So I do have carbs, but it makes me think, where do I want these carbs to come from? And your goal is to try to let it come from the most nutritious, valued foods with your vegetables. And as far as breads and things go, I do cut those out of my meal plans, but I think more openly to different types of breads that are made with like almond flours and coconut flour. I do find myself having to cook a lot more, and that might be where people think it's not sustainable, but you can eat out and still do low carb. You just have to, and that's another thing I'm just ranting now about, or rambling on about that now. A lot of people will say, with the backlash, a lot of people will say, oh, well, can you eat there? Or, oh, let's not go to that restaurant. And it's me that's in control of what I eat. So you can always find a salad or a protein anywhere you go. And then you just make your choices. You be very careful with your choices on making sure you eat the good vegetables and things like that to go with it. So you want to start small and maybe go ahead and just like get rid of all the temptation that's in your kitchen first, and then start tracking your carbs. I do that with an app called Carb Manager. Makes it very easy. And in the beginning, it might seem a little tedious. Some people will say that's why they can't stay on track, or it's not sustainable, is because they have to keep up with what they're eating. But it's really good for anyone to do that, no matter what lifestyle, because you will be shocked probably at what you eat in a day and not even realize it.
Yeah.
It's portion size. Portion size was a huge shocker for me. And so, but once you get into it and you give yourself a couple of weeks to detox and get off the cravings, you feel so much better. Your energy just shoots way up and it becomes much easier, and you don't have the cravings anymore. And so I do have a lot of recipes though, where I do a lot of baking and things like that to keep the things that I love in my life. If you want them, then you make the choice to make the little bit of changes to make it more sustainable.
Yeah, because a lot of people think that this lifestyle is you can't have anything sweet ever again.
Right.
Just by watching you, I've seen all the different recipes that you've made.
Right. And it's a matter of choice, right? And there are a lot of products out there, and there are some people that will follow this lifestyle and not do any type of sugars at all. None. But I have list of, you've got bad sugars, and then you've got some sugar alcohols that have a lot of substantial benefits. Stevia is the first one. And if you will learn how to cook and use those products, you can definitely keep. I love my sweets. I'm not gonna lie. And even though my sugar cravings are gone, I still want to have that in my life. That's just something that makes me happy. So I find recipes and things that work for me. And there are a lot of products out there that they want you to be able to do that too. So they've come out with things that are really good for you to add in. Now, granted, there are people who stick strictly to whole foods that have absolutely none in them, but I'm more of I choose not to be as strict. So I add those in every once in a while.
So we've already talked about no sweets.
Right.
But let's talk about some other misconceptions. Like mainly everybody thinks is, oh, you have to eat all this meat and that's all you can eat all the time.
Yeah. Well, and it's not just straight up. A lot of people think it's just, oh yeah, you get to eat a lot of bacon and butter. No, I don't. I do eat bacon. But you can get really good cuts of meat and have a variety of things to choose from. You've got seafood, and I eat a lot of salmon and shrimp, and I add in safe low carb tortillas, and I eat Mexican food, and there's ways to even make your own tortilla chips. So I don't even miss out on the nachos and things like that. So, and there are, avocados is one of the big #1 foods on this diet, and there's nothing better than some guac and chips, right?
Or just avocado by itself with a little bit of salt on it.
Yes,
you're
right.
good.
So it's about eating the right fats and the right cuts of meat. I don't sit around just eating bacon.
Or a tub of butter while you're watching
Or
TV.
a tub of butter, right. So if you're going to do butter, you need to make sure it's the 100% pure cream butter. And I eat a lot of avocado oil, a lot of olive oil, and coconut oil. So it's the way you cook your foods too. It's not about having to just sit and eat a bunch of meat and butter all the time. So, but I have found the most difficult thing for me is trying to decide what to eat, because I have a lot of menu choices.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, all of that encompasses also drinking your water. Another facet of it is if you want to get into, I got mine. Get into your intermittent fasting. So, to not overwhelm everyone though, I would just keep it as simple as you could, watching your calories, but cutting back on your carbs, getting rid of all of the temptations, and staying away from the processed foods will 100% get you started on a healthy journey. And slowly you can work in the other things. Like I would first start watching my carbs, and then you can slowly get into the other macros where you watch your protein and your fats, so that you're not, trying to keep up with so much at one time.
Now, I know there's a lot of people that do what they call dirty keto, because they do a lot of processed food because they don't like to cook.
Right. And it'll work. It'll work. If your goal is to lose weight, it'll work. Will you feel your healthiest if that's all you did? I'm not sure. I call myself a little bit of strict / easy, lazy, not dirty, maybe lazy keto, where I will at times, like I use the tortillas that I share a lot, the carb balance. I am though, now that I'm slowly getting into more, I'm even getting into newer things that I'm researching. Gonna get to put my hands into maybe making my own tortillas, but you don't have to do that. So there are ways to incorporate strict and lazy where you do have some of those choices, but the dirty keto is where you eat mostly processed food. All you're looking for is, are there any carbs in it? How low are the carbs? And that's with the protein bars and the pork rinds, and not to give those a bad rep, because I do eat those things. Just I limit how often I do. And that's just what works for me. So you need to look at what are your goals, what do you want to get out of it, and what will work for you. And you can eat out, and that will help if you also don't, like, I do a lot of Chipotle, places where you can get bowls, salads, that kind of thing. But if you get that carb manager, and that's the one I prefer, I think some people use Fitness Pal. It actually has restaurants in there, and you can see what your choices are if you want to do that type of lazy keto. But you go ahead.
I know there's one thing that we've talked about is we both like to snack. We're not big meal eaters. We're big snack eaters.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we get around that?
Well, what I find is, what helps me is intermittent fasting. And so I usually, after I eat, once I get hungry enough to eat my first meal, that has really helped me stay full. But you can still snack. The one thing with snacking is if your goal is to really keep your insulin levels low so that you stay in ketosis, you don't want to spike them more often. So you try to limit how often you do, but there are tons of snack choices out there. A lot of times my snacks will consist of nuts and cheese. So those are things that you can have and it still be not raise your sugar levels. Almonds, not almond, scratch that. I meant to say nuts are like the best way to get in your fats, low carb. And if a lot of people struggle with actually getting in enough calories, and those are a way to do that because you have to really limit the amount that you eat. Again, the portion control. But the best ones that you can eat are like walnuts and Brazil nuts and pecans.
Wow. Now let's talk about intermittent fasting because you mentioned that.
Yeah,
so
I do that.
I don't know what it's about.
On a regular basis. So intermittent fasting is just where you block off a set of time where you're not putting food in your body and you're letting it get rid of all the glucose and recover. A lot of people think, oh, you've got to eat first thing the minute you wake up to get your metabolism started. But if you read up on intermittent fasting, it's actually breakfast is just basically breaking your fast. That's what it is. You break it apart. It's breaking your fast. And so I let my body tell me when I'm hungry, and it does take some time to get used to it, especially if you're used to eating breakfast. But just because your body is giving you signs that you might be hungry doesn't mean the growl in your stomach is just the acids that are in there. It doesn't mean, oh, I've got to go eat. So I do a window of 11 to 7, typically. What I love about intermittent fasting is it's flexible and you can switch it around to fit the needs of your lifestyle. If you do prefer to eat earlier in the day and you don't have to eat later in the day, then you could do a 9 to 5 window. It's really whatever works for you. But the goal is to try to have a window where your body is without food anywhere from 10 to 12 hours. And then once you hit 12 hours, anything past that, your body has switched over to burning fat for fuel and will go into your fat stores and use that so that you're not needing to put glucose and calories and carbs into your body. So I usually stop eating around 7. And then today, my window's opened up at 11, but I still have not had my first meal.
Wow.
I'm not hungry. So.
But you have had your ketones, right?
Yes, I have had my ketones, which is...
Okay, we'll get right back to that in just a second. I have a sponsor commercial we have to do, but we'll be right back.
Okay.
Hey y'all, welcome to Summer Sunflower Fields at Odom Farming Company. We'd love for you to come visit with us. We're open Tuesday through Thursday and Sunday from 4 to 8 and Friday and Saturday from 4 to 9. $5 admission includes a visit with the pasture gang, the playground, the beautiful fields, and 3 flowers to carry home. So come see us at 1426 Claridge Nursery Road, Goldsboro. Check out our website, odomfarmingcompany.com, or follow us on social media. We sure hope to see you soon.
And we're back. Now let's talk about ketones. What are they?
So what your body does when you are on a keto low carb lifestyle, I'm not going to use the word diet, is the whole goal is to get your body to switch over to using fats for fuel instead of glucose and needing carbs. Now I will say I'm not a doctor, and you do need to talk to your doctor before you start anything like this. And if you are a heavy duty like runner or someone who does major athletic things, you're probably going to need extra carbs for the energy replenishment. But the basic person can definitely function perfectly well on fat adaptation. And so what your body does is it begins to develop what are called ketones, which is where the fat burning takes place, and what those are where you're using fat for fuel. And that's why I don't follow a very strict lifestyle, because to get in, you can do this on your own, just strictly from your meals. You have to be very, very, very strict. And there are days where I might want to have a little bit more. And so therefore, I've chosen to start using exogenous ketones, which is where you drink the exact same thing your body can make on its own. It does not stop you from making them naturally. So it will never stop you from making them naturally if you ever want to stop. But there are so many other benefits to this lifestyle, and I want to talk about that a little bit more as well. But I have taken these ketones before, but in a pill form, and they did not work because I've been doing this for 3 years. Then I found these ones by the Prove It company, and I'm a representative for them, a promoter for them, because that's how much I believe in these products. They are completely different. Like, they have changed my life. They're what I added in May, and I will continue to drink them because of the energy. All the bloat's gone, all the inflammation's gone, all my pains are gone. I don't have headaches anymore. The energy level I have, the mood I'm in all the time. I'm in the happiest of moods all the time. Completely do not fluctuate craziness like that anymore. But there are some people out there that 100% believe in just doing it on your own, and you can. But I see it as a tool, and it's a tool that works for me. And so that's, I'm trying to think, is there anything I forgot about that?
I don't think so.
So they come in all flavors, and I just drink one in the morning, and that's, curbs your appetite, stops your cravings. It has contributed to helping me succeed even more at a keto lifestyle or low carb lifestyle. And that's one of the reasons why I'm probably not hungry yet, is because I did drink my ketones this morning. I had True Passion. It's a little bit of a mango / orangey flavor. Have you ever tried that one?
No, I haven't tried that one.
I didn't throw that one in your packet.
Sure.
I might have to get you one of those because it's really, really good. So, and everybody, there are some people who use weight loss surgery as a tool because they have an excessive amount of weight to lose, and for health reasons, that's what works for them. And so that's what I tell people. This is just a tool for me. And if it makes me feel better, and if it makes me feel, helps me along my journey, then I don't see anything wrong with it. And it is amazing the amount of difference that it's made.
And it's super easy. You just mix them with water, right?
Oh, yeah. You just take a tumbler like this, and I usually fill it about, 20 ounces of water, and you just shake it up and take it out wherever you need to go. And, you drink it in about 30 minutes. You get into instant ketosis in 60 minutes. Instant. You can do 2 a day if you prefer to do that. A lot of people will do that in the beginning to get them a faster boost to getting the results that they're looking for, because it will definitely help you burn fat. I don't know. I've got some before and after pictures on my website and things like that, so that people who didn't think I had an issue now look at my before and afters, and they're like, "Wow, I'm sorry, I didn't realize." They're like, "Wow," and then I'm like, "Yeah, now you know what I'm saying." And I just feel so much better, and it preserves your muscle. And at first, when I first started taking it, I was like, "How's it going to do that?" But it does. Like, I have more tone, and I have a scale. I use a scale. I I should have brought it in here so I could show the brand if anybody wanted to look it up, where it actually shows my muscle mass and my fat mass, and those two numbers have completely switched places.
Wow.
Yeah. Where my fat mass has gone way drastically down. And that's the part that I needed to get off my body. And the reason we don't, the reason I don't say this is just for weight loss is because you may not see a difference in the scale, but you see a difference in your body. Mm-hmm. Because the same amount of weight for muscle versus fat is going to be a difference when it comes to how it looks, because muscle mass is so much smaller and fat mass takes up so much more space. So you may not see a difference in the scale, but you're going to see a difference in how you feel, how you look, how your clothes fit. And then in turn, you will probably see a fluctuation, because I did lose scale weight because there was just so much bloat and inflammation going on. I did bring out a couple of the books I started with. Is it okay if I show those?
Go for it.
All right. So this, I don't know. Is it gonna be okay? So this one right here. Did you get this one or did you get this one?
I got that one. I got the first one.
Okay. So this one was a basic one that I started with to just really get me. I love reading books about it though. It just like fascinates me the more I learn about it, and just how the fats, if you eat the right fats, how much it does for your brain. Like, it's just amazing. Like my what you call brain fog.
Uh-huh.
I can tell a huge difference in my concentration and how I can stay focused on things. And so this was another one that I started with. And I mean, I've got tons and tons of books because I love just reading different authors' opinions and things on it. And so those were the two that I started with. And I wanted to say something else. I'm just passionate about this. I just feel so much better.
Yeah, obviously you can tell you feel so much better because if anybody follows you on Instagram, especially, you're walking, you were riding your bike, now you're walking because you're walking with me.
Yes, you got me into walking again, but I'm there to motivate you, and it's given me something different, because you can get burned out and that's the other thing. Okay, exercise. So you want to, start tracking, monitoring what you eat, try to keep your carbs low, drink your water, slowly do intermittent fasting, and then exercise. Well, then drinking your exogenous ketones. If anybody wants to try those, reach out to me. And then exercise is actually the last thing. Mm-hmm. So you can do all of these things and feel great and, lose fat and feel better and all the health benefits. And then, because some people just dread working out. And you don't want to try to do all of these things at once and they get burned out and not be successful. But you can start small with just a little bit of walking, and you have worked up to where I'm probably going to have you on, what did we say, a 6-mile walk?
Yeah, 6-mile walk. I mean, I did a 3-mile yesterday, and I did hike on Saturday, but there was a lot of steps, so my upper thighs are really bothering me right now because of the steps and the muscles and having to, because the steps at the Cliffs of the News are like this big. They're huge steps. They're not teeny tiny steps.
Good for you though, but yeah, I would probably take a day. Today's your day of rest, right?
Yep, today's my day of rest, and then tomorrow, meeting you tomorrow morning, hopefully, your fingers crossed.
Yeah, and I've got my mindset, believe this or not, you know how I've been meeting you the halfway point? I'm actually going to go all the way around and meet you. So I'm even going to add extra onto my bike ride before I meet you. That's my goal. So we'll see how I do on that. That's my goal. Because I didn't work out. No, I did work out yesterday. I'm trying this at-home toning thing with this Jillian Michaels. I'm sure you've heard of her.
Uh-huh.
She kicked my butt, but I feel it. I need that, a little bit more toning. So I even am growing and adding things slowly back into my life. Because now that we can't really get out to gyms and things like that, you got to get creative with what you do. So there's nothing better than getting out and just taking a brisk walk. Even if you could just do 20 minutes a day, It's any kind of movement. I've even put on my step counter and walked in the house on a rainy day. I mean, it's just any getting up and moving is better than, sitting. But I will say, with this lifestyle and the ketones and the keto, your energy level, I'm constantly looking for things to do anyway, because my energy's so high. Like right now, you hear me, I'm just like, my husband's like, okay. He's even started drinking though, because he's so like, what is going on with your life? Let me get it back. I think you wanted me to talk a little bit about how my family has accepted that. So my husband's 100% on board, and he is a bread and loves potatoes, but he eats the same foods as me. And he has an open mind, and there are meals that I've put on the table, and he's like, you're kidding me. This is low carb. I could eat this every day. And I'm like, I know, right? It's your mindset. It's how you look at it and what you're willing to try. And, then I have, some family members that maybe don't quite understand it, but they support me because that's my choice. So on that note, I do have a couple that they're like, they don't understand it at all. And then a couple friends, they're like, well, you don't need to lose any weight. I'm like, I'm not doing it to lose weight anymore. I've at my maintenance stage. People do. It is a weight loss tool. You can use it for that. But why would I stop something that makes me feel better?
Yeah.
Because I've made it to a maintenance stage. So I up my calories so that I'm not losing any more weight and get into a dangerous low weight. But I still get the benefits from it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. Now, how is this going to affect you when you go back to school? Because I know that's going to be very stressful, and you're more likely to grab carb snacks or grab those Russell Stover candies.
Oh, we won't be doing the Russell Stovers anymore. So nothing against Russell Stover. But if you want to know about the right sugars and the wrong sugars, maltitol is not one of the good ones. It can cause digestive issues and raise your sugar levels. But anyway, I'm going to make sure I have some Lily's chocolate. If anybody wants to know the right chocolate to get, go get you some Lily's chocolate. They make it in bars. They make it in baking chocolate chips. I'm definitely going to make sure I have the right snacks in my classroom, first of all, so that I have the right choices. I'm probably going to have an extra ketone for sure midday. And I'm hoping that my intermittent fasting, being as strong as it is now, is going to help me get through the morning hours. And hopefully just the newness of what we're going to have to do will keep my mind occupied with that as well. But I'm going to make sure the whole key is to prepare yourself and make sure you have the right things there to grab and choose. And I may throw in some of the dirty, lazy keto, because I'd rather have that option than to start a bad habit again and grab something else.
Now let's talk about, this is something you always talk about every time anybody follows you. Going to the grocery store, you kind of become obsessed with going to the grocery store.
I love finding new products. I love trying new products, because that's the part of where you're mixing kind of a little bit of the strict and a little bit of, but I also find new recipes all the time, and so I'm going to get things for that. And so yeah, I am a little obsessed with it, the grocery hauls and looking for new products. I just got and I also order things a lot too. Yeah. So I just got a shipment in actually of some products I'm going to try. And I'm not a representative of any of them. So if you want a true review on something, reach out to me, because
follow you on Instagram or Facebook for sure. Definitely Instagram, because I think you post more on Instagram in your stories than you do on Facebook.
Yeah. Is that what you wanted to talk about? Just like,
I found the unicorn bread, or I found the unicorn tortillas, or
yes, there's a bread at Aldi's that no, it's the Mission tortillas. There is a 2-net carb Mission tortilla out there, and I called it my unicorn tortilla. If you can get near a Sprouts, we have to go all the way to Raleigh to get ours. They actually had it. And now there's these egg wraps that you can make those, but I'm not really. So that's another reason I'll do some products, is because I'm not very good with like, you're gonna have to come over and show me how to make the cheese taquito. Taquitos?
Taquitos? Yeah, super easy.
I'm not good with the spatula on getting those things to roll. I don't know why. You're going to have to come show me how to get those things to roll. So there's egg wraps where it's just a thin layer of like an egg white, and they use those to eat their wraps, like their sandwich wraps, their chicken salad wraps, their avocado wraps, things like that. And you can make those, but again, I've got to get the skills, so I need to practice. But I can't find those anywhere. So that's my next, I guess that's my new unicorn, is trying to find these egg white wraps.
I would think maybe like the Whole Foods stores, like Whole Foods, Trader Joe's.
Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Sprouts, all those, and Publix. Those are all, Harris Teeter is getting better. I have not spoken to the manager, but I know if you speak to the manager, they usually will try to get products that you're looking for. And so there are other people out there doing this lifestyle. I can tell because they are slowly started getting in a lot more products to make it accessible to people who are eating these types of foods. But yeah, those other ones in the larger areas, if you can get to those, and I'm thinking that's where I need to go.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Sprouts has them, but I just didn't see them that day, and it might have just been that I overlooked them or whatever. But
or they may not be where you thought they would be at too. That's true.
Correct. So
you would think they were in one place, but they're in something totally different.
Yeah, so I'll keep looking. I also, if anyone wants to reach out to me, I do have like a basic grocery list I share. If you're looking like, well, what do I need to get when I go to the grocery store? Because you can get in there and get overwhelmed. And then I've kind of done the legwork for you where you're not having to flip it over and check it out. And a lot of times with like the products, you want to flip it over and see, well, what are they filling it with if there aren't any carbs in it? And you want to keep the amount of ingredients as little as possible. So, and my new thing is today I posted about how sometimes if you're struggling with this lifestyle, it could be the wheat products. And I'm not struggling, but I'm always wanting to learn new ways to make it even healthier. So my new thing is I'm going to try to incorporate more almond flour, and I'm going to try to make my own tortillas instead of the Carb Balance. But the Carb Balance, great product, definitely will slowly work you into not having breads in your life because I think they're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They taste really good, and it gives you some substantial, if you want to eat a sandwich or something. Oh, and pizzas. Oh, They make some good pizza. Yeah, I eat pizza. I eat tacos. I eat seafood, hamburgers. I eat it all.
Especially if you follow your Instagram stories, you would think you would be big as a house for what you've been eating. Like I'm eating this, I'm eating that.
People are like, "You're not eating." I'm like, "Yes, I do." Yes, I do.
And, last night you just made chicken Alfredo. Am I correct?
Yes, and a friend of ours, Kim Pearson, I don't know if she cares if I give her a little plug. She is part of our group, and we're sharing recipes with each other, which I am really loving because you guys are giving me some great ideas. She had an Alfredo sauce, and she told me it was out of this world, and she was not kidding. It was good. It was so good. So I made chicken Alfredo with pasta. It is a plant-based pasta. So there's one of those products where you've got to open your mind and try it before you completely dismiss it. And the way I make it with the chicken broth and all the spices, it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious.
So you're not really giving up pasta either.
No. And I don't miss it. I don't crave. Let me give you an example. So my son was staying here with me for a little while, and we wanted to have movie and pizza night. And so I chose that day. I made a decision ahead of time. Not going to track. Today I'm going to eat what I want when I want because it's my choice. And I'll get back on track tomorrow by drinking lots and lots of water, my ketones, things like that. And so we ordered pizza. Love this particular place. Love their pizza. But I didn't need it. I ate that pizza instead of my pizza. And I actually think I would have enjoyed my pizza better, if that makes sense. It's like you get to where your body changes what it likes the taste of and what it craves. And so I wouldn't have missed out if he had eaten that pizza instead of, and me not eating it with him, made my own. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's amazing what changes in your body if you give it time.
Yeah, it's like I shared with you twice. Like, I love the pineapple street chicken from Laughing Owl here in Goldsboro, and I just took a couple of bites from it, and I couldn't because it was just too sweet.
Yeah, you can't eat the white sugars that are heavy sweet. You just can't do it. And then if you do, you get kind of sick from it. So like when we go on vacation, because we love to go to Disney World, I'm not going to deny myself anything. But I probably won't be able to eat as much. I'll be doing a lot of share snacking. And Jerry and I splitting things because, and I eat lots of ice cream. Ice cream is my absolute favorite dessert. But there are brands out there that use the correct sugars with the stevia and the erythritol, to where you can keep that in your life. And so now when I eat the regular full fat, which you want the fats, you want the good fats, but the heavy sugars, it's just too sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just too sweet. So, and cheesecake's another favorite, and I cook it all the time.
Okay, I want cheesecake.
Oh, I got you a cheesecake recipe. It is the best. And you're like, you got to be kidding me. This is keto, low carb. Yeah, that's one of my favorite desserts. And I have several recipes for cheesecake style desserts.
Wow.
Is there anything?
I will say though, anybody that wants to reach out to you with your grocery list was amazing, because especially now when you're not, some people don't want to step back into the grocery store. I just used your list and went shopping and I did it at Walmart. So I did the Walmart pickup. So I wasn't even.
Oh, yeah.
They had everything. So honestly, I would say reach out if you were interested. Definitely reach out to you because.
I've got one, and I add to it from time to time as I find new products. And what's awesome is because you also have the internet to your disposal. So somebody might ask me, what's the nutritional content for this brand? And if I can't get to the store and get to it, you can find that stuff now online as well. Because peanut butter is another big thing that I love to eat. And they're, if you're not careful, they add a lot, some brands add a lot of extra stuff to that. You want to keep it just as straight up peanuts or straight up almond. I love almond butter too. And you can get those types of things as well to help you know which brand to choose when you do the online shopping. Yeah, you're exactly right. I didn't think about it.
And it's so much easier, especially during this time of COVID, and people don't want to go into stores, or they're limiting the amount of people that go in the store, or people having masks, people not having masks, people touching stuff, people not touching stuff,
Yeah, so the grocery list definitely will help so that you don't have to go in there and be looking, because to find the products, you got to go in there to look for them, and this definitely will cut out that step for you. So yeah, and I've got grocery list available if anybody needs it. I've got a simple tips to getting started if they're interested. And I also have, what's the other one? Oh, 5 simple meals that I did eat a lot in the beginning, just so that, because I wasn't familiar with all the different recipes and how to cook them. But now I've got them so that I can offer them so that other people don't have to do the work to find it. But I have 5 simple meals that are delicious that you can rotate, because you do want to keep it simple in the beginning.
Yeah. And Pinterest is a great tool as well. Googling, start going low carb or keto friendly bread. I just found a recipe that I think we're going to make bread tonight, where they only call for like 4 eggs and like almond flour and coconut flour and nothing else really. It's just really simple. So I'm going to see how that
turns out. Yeah. And that's what I love about it too. It has turned into, the more you get into it and the better you feel, the more you want. And so it breaks you out to, it's almost like when I go to the grocery store, it's almost like the fun of, well, what else can I add in? Like how can I make this work? There's a recipe I like. I'm like, well, how can I turn that into what I need it to be? And so you just want more and more, and then you venture out and you can find tons of recipes, and give them a try and see how they work for you. That bacon broccoli salad with the cheeses. Have you made that yet?
No, not yet. That sounds good.
That's a really good one too. But anyway, I could talk about that forever. Like the different. I get to eat a lot. Like I love food, and I get lots. I have lots of varieties. So
it's not like you're ever hungry and you're not starving yourself. You're still eating what you would normally eat, but just a different.
I don't feel denied. Just the white breads, the processed breads, the pastas. And when it comes to fruits and vegetables, there are some on the lists that are low carb, believe it or not. And I just make sure I pick the right ones. Dark green leafy, zucchini, those types of things, broccoli, cauliflower's on the list, but you got to be careful with that. A lot of people think, oh, well, if I get a cauliflower pizza crust, but they add a lot of stuff in there and you got to be careful. So just read your labels, but salads, those types of things. So I really don't feel, so potatoes are out, carrots, but I don't feel, I know you got the potato chip thing going on. We got to figure out something for you on the potato chips, but I don't feel deprived at all. But if it's, I've got a couple family members that, well, I want my bread. Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
That is okay. I choose not to. And I don't feel deprived at all. I feel so much better.
And that's the whole point, is feeling better for yourself. That way other people around you.
Absolutely.
When you don't feel good, you don't, when you don't look good, you don't feel good. You're like, bleh, and then
it just makes your mood and everything. It affects everything. It really does. And I could cry. I mean, I do get teary-eyed and with happy tears just because the mood is so much better. The mood is so much better. And
it's actually gotten me out walking, where before I was very sedentary lifestyle, sitting in front of the computer all day. But now I'm even getting up early and meeting you and walking.
You gotta walk 6 miles. We're gonna do it. And I'm not saying, like, there might be a time where I'm going to eat like a full-fledged piece of big cheesecake from Cheesecake Factory, because their red velvet cheesecake is the best. But I guarantee you, I probably can't eat but a couple of bites of it at one sitting. But that's because it's a choice.
Uh-huh.
And you make your choices when you want it, and you want to, the majority of your time, not to eat stuff like that. But
so it's not really like you have to do this. It's you want to do this.
Exactly. I don't say I can't. I say I don't want to, if that's my choice. And it's not, I love a donut too, just like the next person. But because of this lifestyle, I now don't crave those things. So I don't need it. But if we were to have a birthday party, I'm not going to not involve myself in family functions. And I will take my own things sometimes. But if that's not what I want to do that day, I just make sure I prepare my mindset for it. That's all it's what it's about. And it's getting right back on track.
Yeah, because honestly, I'm glad you brought up birthday parties, because those who don't know, Donna actually is an amazing cake maker, and we're not talking keto-friendly cakes.
No, a lot of people don't know I do. A lot of people don't know that about me, that I actually am a cake decorator, or I don't know if that's the right term, but I'm not a professional, but
I mentioned her several times on the blog. I mentioned her when we were talking about Michaela's quinceanera, about Gracie's quinceanera, and when it came down to the person to make Maddie's wedding cake, we absolutely chose her because we wanted that all the special touches that Maddie had in her wedding. But it was like, no doubt, Mama, I want Miss Donna to make my cake. I mean, she taught me in first grade, and then you ended up teaching her again in third grade.
Oh yeah, when I was in the interim position. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So that made a whole. And then her photographer ended up being her 8th grade English teacher as well. So we had all those interconnections all over the place.
Mm.
See, you didn't know that. It just
made people don't know that. They're like, oh, I didn't know that about you.
Yep. So do you see yourself making any keto-friendly cakes?
Well, I have for the family. So it's possible. If someone were to request that, I would definitely do everything I could. If you're not used to the different sugar substitutes.
Mhm.
And you know, I can give you all the information you want on, well, why is stevia better? Why is erythritol better? Why is monk fruit better? But if you're not used to that, I've had a couple of family members like, yeah, I can tell a little bit because it, you know, it might have a different texture to it or something.
Mhm.
But it's definitely a good substitute, and if it's something that you're open to, it's worth trying. Now the cheesecakes, no one knew.
Cool.
They could not tell at all. But I think the cake, I might have made it. There are different brands out there, and a couple of the brands, people say it gives them like a cooling effect at the end, like a mint kind of cool. You know how when you eat a mint and then you drink something cold, it gives you that cooling effect. But I don't notice that. And then, you know, so I've got a couple of brands that so far, everything I've made, even Jerry hasn't been able, he's like, that is a good one. You need to keep that one. So they different ones. You might want to try it out. But I've definitely made a couple of cakes that way. Not the fancy ones and the big ones like what you've purchased from me or requested from me, but definitely something I could try for sure.
Yeah, because that's maybe a whole new branch out for you.
Yeah. Because I know there are a lot of companies now that they definitely do that. I don't have anything associated with fat, real fat foods, but I plug them all the time. If you are someone that would rather just purchase the properly made foods, nothing wrong with that. I do want to venture out and learn how to make them myself, to where they are, you know, that type of cake where maybe people wouldn't be able to tell, because there's a pumpkin bread they sell. Oh my gosh, it is amazing. And it's made with almond flour.
Wow.
So I will continue to order that until I can perfect my own recipe.
Are you working on one right now or no?
Right now I'm going to work on getting the tortillas perfected. That's my goal right now. My new thing is to see if I can make my own tortillas. And then if I and then I do a lot of meal prepping so that I don't get overwhelmed with having to be in the kitchen, because you do have to cook at home. So, you know, you got to, for whole foods and good foods, you don't want processed, you got to make them, right? So when I get the tortilla recipe perfected, what I would probably do is on Sundays, which is my usual day to go ahead and meal prep for the week, is make several and then just put them in a Ziploc bag and keep them in the fridge. And then life is much simpler, right? The rest of the week. It's not like you have to get in there and make it every day.
Yeah, that's true.
So I do a lot of meal prepping.
I guess that maybe might be a key for a lot of people that are doing this lifestyle is meal prepping. Just setting aside one day to prep all their meals instead of waiting to the last minute. What am I going to cook today? Or even meal planning for that matter.
Well, and you know, back to when you said, what are you going to do when school starts back? That's one of the things I'll probably do is I'll meal prep even more so that I have all my meats, my proteins lined up. And then it's quicker for me to find something healthy to take to work. Because I've already got, you know, the chicken prepped or the beef or the steak or the shrimp or the
or the
whatever proteins. Yeah.
So is there any last thing that you would leave anybody with that wants to or is thinking about doing the keto lifestyle?
Just to have an open mind. And if they're looking for something that they just haven't found that one thing that they can stick with, to maybe give it a chance and just have an open mind with it. And if you know someone that lives this lifestyle, to also remember to have an open mind and that everyone has what works for them, and to not tiptoe around them, that it's their choice they're making and not your response, you know, not your burden to have to worry.
Yeah.
Right.
And how can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook. Uh-oh, something popped up on my computer. Hopefully I don't mess up anything. They can find me on Instagram. They're both, okay, Instagram and Facebook are both called Kicking It with Keto. On Instagram, I had to put periods between each word. Now my husband, they heard me typing. I knew this real life situation was going to happen. Girl, wait until the very end, but don't start. It's just mama tapping. It's just mama tapping. Okay, so it's Kicking with Keto, and on Instagram, it's at kickin.it.with.keto, and then on Facebook, it's just all one thing. Yeah. So you can definitely find me there. And you can reach out to either, me on either one of those to get the emails for the free guides and grocery list. And if you're interested in wanting to know more about the ketones, I do have websites for that, but I would reach out to me on those. Although you got my, okay. Yeah, I do have sample packs. I have bundle packs that, if you're like, what is she talking about? Would I even like the flavors? I definitely do trial bundle packs where you can try them out first. And so, yeah, that would probably be the best two places to reach out. Or start following me just so you can get the recipes and tips and advice. And I'm always posting reminders of things you need to do and incorporate. Oh, can I talk real quick about the keto flu?
Go ahead. Go for it.
Okay, so the keto flu is something that people are afraid of because it, normally after about 2 weeks of depleting yourself of carbs and restricting things like that, you can develop things that are flu-like, cold symptoms type thing, sluggishness. I think I've never experienced it, first of all, and I think I can contribute it to you have to replenish your electrolytes. Because the three main minerals that your body can be depleted of that would cause that are your sodium. So believe it or not, you need to add back some sodium, especially if you want. I love Himalayan salt. That's the best for the nutritional value. Your magnesium and your potassium. And, you can get those things with like Propels and Gatorades and Powerade Zeros. But I think the best way to go is with a specially designed like powder that has the full benefits of lots of vitamins and minerals. And I have one that I purchased off Amazon, but our company that does the ketones also has electrolytes, and I just add them into my ketone drink. And I 100% believe that is what has kept me from having the keto flu. If you were to get it and come down with it, it's not like the real flu. You're not contagious. You just might feel like sluggish. It passes. You just have to let your body continue to adjust to all the detox that you're doing, because you are detoxing yourself off of sugars and things. So with that. Okay. I didn't want to talk about that because a lot of people hear about it and it can be avoided. It can be avoided.
All right, Donna, thank you so much for
having me,
talking about it. I will tell you guys that she was a little nervous about coming on, and she was like, oh, what if I just start rambling? I'm like, no, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine.
Well, I did start rambling, but that's because I get so passionate about it, and I don't push it on anyone. Just like I respect their lifestyle, and I just want people to respect the fact that this is what works for me. And if you're ever interested in it, I can definitely help you get started.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I wanted you on, because I've heard so many misconceptions about the keto lifestyle, and I know several people that do it, and actually I think it's kind of more sustainable because then your family can do it with you as well, and you're not buying a whole separate thing for just you to consume while your grocery bill you have to buy for your family, then you have to buy for yourself. It's something that your family can encompass as well.
Right. You just might have to, if my husband wants a baked potato, I just buy the one potato and everything else stays the same. It's more, everybody can eat what you're having. They just might add one thing to it. They might have the bun versus the, yeah, I thought there was something else I wanted to say. Yeah.
You good?
I think so.
All right. Thank you guys for watching, and I will drop the links for Donna's stuff in the comments so you guys can contact her or reach out to her if you want to buy ketones or anything else. So have a great rest of your day and see you back soon.
Bye.